What's up, guys? In this video, we're going to be talking about caffeine. How to take it, when to take it, and do you even need to take it? Most pre-workouts out there range from 150 to 300 milligrams, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. What's the science behind any of that? Is that just what it was cheap for them to do, seemed convenient, seemed to work for most people? As powerlifters, we're not just average people, so I think it's important for us to actually get into it to see what is good or not good for us. So in the first study we looked at, researchers had participants take 3, 6, and 9 milligrams of caffeine per kilogram of body weight. And they found that only with the 9 milligrams of caffeine per kilogram body weight was there an increase in bar speed when they used a Smith machine, bench press, and squat. Now for some perspective, a 200-pound man needs 818 milligrams of caffeine. If we asked the FDA, they recommend no more than 400 milligrams per day. So clearly there's a mismatch between these two numbers here. 400 milligrams of caffeine a day is about a bang in a coffee. So that study recommended 9 milligrams of caffeine per kilogram body weight. However, Goldstein in 2010 and Sabol in 2019 suggest that the minimum effective dose may be less than actually 3 milligrams per kilogram body weight. Now, when we take a step back and look at that, minimum effective dose just means how much do you need to make something work, versus the first study looked at how much caffeine do we need to make the bar move faster. So yes, those are two different parameters that we're measuring. However, we have quite a range here right now between maybe less than 3 up to 9 milligrams caffeine per kilogram body weight that could be recommended. Martin in 2015 found that 0.9 milligrams per kilogram body weight was actually enough to increase strength. Another study in 2017 from Gergit found that 6 milligrams per kilogram of body weight was enough to increase the leg press 1 rep max by 3%. Now, obviously leg press is not a powerlifting move, but it is a pretty good assessment of just overall lower body strength, since there is such little technique involved in just the leg press. So when we look at all these recommendations, it seems about 2 to 6 milligrams per kilogram of body weight is about what's average. However, this is going to be highly dependent upon you, the lifter, whether or not you have a high or low tolerance to caffeine and how long you've been taking it. Alright, so we just talked about how much to take, but now when to take it. They looked at timing before competition and how to space out your caffeine intake. They recommended up to 60 minutes before your competition starts, you should take your caffeine. This is quite variable though upon how many lifters are actually at your meet. Personally, I take caffeine about 10 to 15 minutes before I start training. I tried 60 minutes one time. It was an accident. I was on the way to the gym, realized I had a haircut, went to get a haircut. Not a good experience. So I don't actually recommend 60 minutes before. Again, if you've been training with caffeine, do what works best for you. Couple things to be aware of. Gergik in 2017-2019 found that caffeine can actually lower your RPEs, causing some lifters to overshoot their opener. Caveat with that is, if you're always training with caffeine, you're always training the same amount, then you should already know what you need to do for that opener when time comes. But if for whatever reason you don't have pre-workout or any type of caffeine the day of your meet, maybe drop that opener just a little bit. Now, there were some studies out there that isolated animal fibers and show that caffeine-induced fibers actually produce more force, and the type 2, not so much the type 1 fibers. Type 2 fibers, real quick, what is that? It's your fast twitch. It's what we really need in powerlifting. Type 1 is more of your slow twitch. It's more of your postural fibers. You don't really need those as much. You're not as concerned with those in powerlifting. Now, there are some people out there who stop taking pre-workout 1 to 2 weeks before competition, hoping to decrease their tolerance so they have a bigger effect on it. Well, studies have shown that they can actually go through some of withdrawals from not taking caffeine by doing it for that long. And so you get headaches, you get weakness, which none of those are good symptoms to have while you're training. Now, the last piece of research we'll look at from Lara et al. In 2019 shows that it takes over 20 days before your tolerance to caffeine goes down. And that's 20 days of consecutive supplementation. So if you only take caffeine when you go and work out, you're going to be okay. You don't need to take time off from taking caffeine. If you're someone who drinks coffee every day, you need a bang every day you're going, you're probably going to see an increase in your tolerance to caffeine and probably see less of the positive effects from it. So my thoughts on it is, if you can get away from having coffee every day or drinking that bang or whatever else you need, it's going to help you out with your strength training. But if that's what you need to get going, and without it you're a miserable grump, keep taking it. So in summary, 2 to 6 milligrams per kilogram body weight is what's recommended, although it varies depending upon you. They say take an hour before. I say just do what you normally have been doing. If an hour is too long, an hour is too long. Try not to take caffeine 20 straight days, but if you're miserable without it, life goes on. Catch you guys in the next video.